So it looks like with 2 weeks before the launch of Shattered Space, Bethesda went ahead and dropped a final teaser trailer on us. So I'm going to go ahead and share that with you and provide a little bit of my commentary, mainly just focusing on what I'm excited about for Shattered Space. And there's some surprises in here that I'd like to discuss further and maybe stir up a little bit of conversation in the comments, because it looks like there are some surprises that were not alluded to before.
Now we're expanding Starfield's galaxy with a brand new, completely handcrafted world and deep new storyline. This September, we're launching Starfield's first major expansion, Shattered Space. Today, we're giving you the first look at the mysterious homeworld of House Faroon. So let's dive in and explore.
So I am really excited to see what's coming up. I see they have been using Tim Lamb quite a lot as Bethesda's spokesperson. I'm guessing that is probably because Todd Howard has been getting significant heat since the launch of Shattered Space. I am excited that he did say that a lot of this is going to be handcrafted. I think that is probably something Starfield could use. I don't mind the vastness of space or the procedural generation, but yes, it could use that.
The fate of our house was written among the stars. The Great Serpent tells us there is nothing to fear.
Do not
At least, not for those who walk the path. You will rise as Varun.
It looks like they are going headlong into the mystical and enigmatic nature of House Faroon. So it looks like we're going to be exploring a lot of the theology of House Faroon and the structure of it, and uncovering a lot of the mystery of House Faroon. So this is something that has me extremely excited, and this is mainly because I thought House Faroon, of all the factions in the base game, it was the most interesting faction by far, even though we saw the least of it of all the houses out there. But let's go ahead and get back to the trailer and see what else we can find in here.
We love Starfield's massive open galaxy, but from early on in our planning, we knew we wanted to introduce a more secluded and handcrafted location, similar to what you've seen from our past expansions. There's so much mystery to House Faroon, and because they've so thoroughly isolated themselves, it made them the perfect faction to explore in a completely self-contained experience.
And so you arise, one of the promised of House Faroon.
He kind of reiterated what I had already said. I do love the vastness of space that comes with Starfield, but I feel like it needs a lot more areas that are handcrafted, well developed, and have deeper exploration than what we see with the procedural generation. Like, there is exploration in the procedural generation, but you don't get that depth of exploration that you do with the handcrafted environments. So I'm glad that they're leaning hard into this, because we have enough vastness. A little bit of handcrafted depth will do Starfield well.
From the minute you arrive on Varun Kai, the story never sends you off planet. You're free to leave at any time, but the story is fully centered around life on the Varun homeworld.
Everything you discover, every location you visit, every side mission you seek out, it all tells the story of what happened here and how the Varun people have survived, cut off from the comforts of the settled systems and the rest of humanity.
Vindicator. Harbinger. Reverend.
Promised.
So it sounds like what Tim Lamb is saying is we are going to get an extremely focused storyline that is going to be, located on Varun Kai in several different locations on Varun Kai. One of the things I do know is these planets are absolutely massive, so it could still be a really spread out story spreading across the entire planet. But I do like that we're not going to be traveling too much, so you're not going to be getting like the constant loading screens as you ping pong back and forth from across the galaxy. And also, I'm loving the visuals from this game. Amazing.
One of our main themes throughout the base game is humanity's search for knowledge. Shattered Space is still about that search, but it's also about what happens when it goes too far. It's a very extreme pursuit, and it has backfired horribly for the people of House Varun.
My brother Qasim has been missing for days. I'm beginning to worry that something terrible has happened to him.
That was just a perfect little chain there. It looks like we're going to be getting a lot darker experience in the quest for House Varun. So it looks like it's going to be a lot darker, a lot scarier. I guess my one thought is, should you be using the enhanced vanilla flashlight? Like, this is supposed to be a darker, scarier game. Would potentially mods kind of ruin that a little bit? So at least my first playthrough, I'm going to be doing that mod free, and then I'll be doing a second playthrough with mods, of course. But
before the start of Shattered Space, a secret experiment involving grav drive technology went terribly wrong.
It resulted in a massive tear in the fabric of space-time that swallowed a significant portion of the Varun capital of Dazra. You arrived just a few weeks after the Vortex incident. It's still very fresh in everyone's minds. There's a massive crater in their city, nothing has been reconstructed, people are still searching for missing loved ones.
Supplies are limited. There is so much work to be done.
The Scaled Citadel, the seat of power for the Varun government, is now trapped within a strange field of energy. Among those missing is Anasco Varun, leader of the Varun people and speaker for the Great Serpent. In his absence, the minor houses that make up House Varun are all vying for control over the faction's future.
So it looks like they're giving us an explanation of why the landscape is so different from other planets within the base game itself, and they're trying to make sense of it there, which is also going to be tying into the storyline. I do like it, and I think Bethesda has had very good past success in making insane landscapes for DLCs that kind of separate it from base games. Like, we can think Shimmering Isles. Shimmering Isles had just an absolutely bizarre landscape, which very much separated it from the rest of Oblivion. So I'm excited in them kind of returning back to this style and thematic and making the DLC look and feel different than the base game. And I'm excited that they're trying to make it make sense. And then just furthermore, it looks like we have a space pope, which that is cool. And I'm getting the vibe from him that there's more than two factions, more than two minor houses, which I'm excited for. I would love the dynamic of maybe 3 or 4 houses playing against each other. Hopefully that's what we get, and we don't just get 2 minor houses. I'd like to see 3 or 4 and see the dynamic between 3 or 4 different groups vying for power within this DLC.
The Zealots were once a part of Varun society. They want to continue the Serpent's crusade. They'll demand an inordinate amount of credits or firearms. Worst case, a seat at the High Council, or even the reinstatement of their house.
Just to pause for a moment there, did you see the amount of red dots on the player's radar? It looks like they are positively stepping up the difficulty level on Shattered Space and having a lot more enemy combatants involved in this. At least that's what I picked up by that very short combat scene. I mean, there was probably at least 12 red dots on the radar there. That is quite a lot of enemy combatants to be dealing with, so this is something that definitely excites me. As you get later on in Starfield, things start to get too easy, so I'm glad they're stepping up the difficulty for this.
All must serve. Set me free. All must serve. Set me free. All must serve. Set me free. All must serve. Save me.
Varun Kai and Dazra City are like no other location in the base game.
From its inception, House Varun has been driven by a singular, unique vision. Because of this, Varun Kai has a completely distinct visual identity. We say it's very alien. You'll see this in the extraterrestrial landscape, gravity anomalies, and much more.
So we did get a little bit more of the alien landscape. I was able to see some venom trees in the background. We have these gravity vortexes going on. My first initial thought about that is, like, this is going to be used a lot in puzzle solving. So if you're like me, where you're running mods that enhance your boost pack and basically allow you to fly, you may want to install that. And this is kind of getting back to the, you might want to experience this as a vanilla experience first. And so, like, maybe revert back to a save prior to you installing mods, and then play through it and see what mods you might want to use for Shattered Space to enhance it, but not be kind of cheating, because, like, if you have something that's enhancing your boost capabilities, it's going to completely negate any of those gravity vortex puzzles that might be there.
Varun Kai is located in the Kavnik system, and it's not the friendliest environment. They believed the Great Serpent led them to Varun Kai, and their whole purpose in being here is to await its return.
You have no concept of what the Great Serpent demands of us. All must serve.
So I just want to add, in the image of the map they showed, we saw a gas giant, and then we saw another moon without an atmosphere. I'm wondering what other planets are in this new system that we're getting. Like, how many total planets are we going to be getting here? I'm speculating, I'm thinking it's probably more than a handful, or I would say probably at least 5 planetoids if we're counting planets and moons together, because I kind of count them together. I mean, you can explore planets and moons the same. There's definitely that gas giant, which we aren't going to be able to land on because it won't have a surface. But, like, I did see that other moon. What other planets are going to be in this systems? What other moons are going to be in this system? Are there going to be other systems like nearby that we could potentially visit? So I'm kind of excited for that because I like the vastness.
It's a dangerous planet, and a lot of the people have retreated to Dazra in order to survive and protect their culture and their way of life. Now you'll find areas of the planet that were abandoned and have since been taken over by Zealots, Spacers, and Crimson Fleet. And humans aren't the only dangers in the Badlands of the planet. With the line between reality and the vortex breaking down, creatures from the other side can slip through, like the vortex horror. When you disturb the barrier between our world and theirs, they can sense it, creating these honestly terrifying ambush scenarios.
In the base game, there's a lot of focus around ranged gun combat. you can engage in a firefight from way in the distance. In Shattered Space, we're closing that distance. Space is scary. Part of getting that across is amping up the aggression and the chaos of combat.
As you explore the city of Dazra and the surrounding planet, you'll learn the truth of what happened, become entangled in the political feud between the minor houses, and ultimately decide the fate of House Varun, a fate that could affect the rest of the settled systems.
We can restore the intended order of things.
Thank you for joining us for a closer look at Shattered Space. We worked hard to make this a journey you won't forget. We're incredibly grateful for your support and passion. Stay tuned for more updates as we head toward launch on September 30th.
I am very excited for the new creatures that they are adding to the game. It sounds like they're going to basically teleport in like all around you, behind you, in front of you. So that's going to make combat extremely fresh and difficult at times. I also noticed a couple different new weapons there. I did notice the Varun Pain Blade. It had a different blade on it. It looked like it was segmented, as opposed to like the straight blade you get. It looked like it was segmented into 3 different segments. So I'm wondering what the heck is going on with that. Are they adding new melee weapons in here to kind of make melee more viable? Because I know in the base game, unless you put a ton of effort into getting the proper skill points, melee basically is not viable at all. So that's going to make melee a lot more viable. Something else I want to point out, that weird Gatling gun, I really think that is a particle rifle Gatling gun hybrid. That thing looks freaking sick as hell. I am extremely excited about that. And then as far as the storyline goes, it sounds like they are going like the traditional Bethesda route, where we're going to be introduced to basically House Varun, and it's going to be in turmoil with minor houses everywhere, and we're going to have to determine the fate of House Varun, which is exciting. That is something I wish the base game had more, was consequences for your decisions. So it looks like we are going to be choosing House Varun's fate, and there's going to be some consequences for our decisions. And then even beyond that, just the thought of spacers and pirates are going to be following us into this system. And we are going to have to deal with spacers and pirates at the same time. So that's going to be something that's going to be extremely exciting. As far as my plans for Shattered Space, I already went ahead. I got vacation time off for that week of launch. I don't have the 30th off, but I'll be able to start playing as soon as I get off work, so it'll be in the evening. So I'm going to throw up a couple live streams and have them pre-scheduled so that we can enjoy this together. And basically what my intentions are is I'm going to play through Shattered Space the first time with no mods whatsoever. And I'm going to be playing it through, thinking about what mods would complement Shattered Space well without kind of ruining the gameplay. And you heard a little bit of my commentary. There's some mods that I think potentially could ruin some of the puzzle solving, could ruin some of the horror aspects of this game. So basically that is going to be what I'm going to be doing, is I'm going to be playing this game with the idea of what mods I can use to enhance this DLC, and then after I do the first playthrough, I will start a second playthrough. I'll make a video with the load order and everything, so if anyone's curious about the load order I'm going to be using on the second one, I will make probably a 20-minute video explaining the whole load order, just so that people maybe jumping into Shattered Space like a week after launch can figure out, like, hey, what mods should I be using, what mods shouldn't I be using, to kind of optimize their experience in the game. But if you thought this was informative, interesting, or you're excited for Shattered Space, please give me a like and subscribe. I do appreciate them. And like always, have a good day and a good evening coming up. Bye-bye.